Well, the big story today is Agong Ampun died in jail. He was the famous guy who was sentenced to what, 20 years in
20
jail
years.
for lèse majesté?
He is Thailand's most controversial inmate when it comes to lèse majesté controversy.
Well, he was called Agong.
He was called Agong.
Which means, normally the old man, right?
He was 61.
Yeah.
And last Friday he had stomach pain.
Yes.
And he was sent to the prison hospital. And this morning he was pronounced dead.
Would this become a very big controversy that perhaps he died of not common causes?
He was said to have cancer, and today a lot of wretched people mourn his death, and we still wait to see how the government will react to this and how this incident will maybe rekindle the issue of lèse majesté in Thailand or not.
So what do you think is the real issue? Is his death in jail, or is it because, the controversy started a long time ago?
Right. His case is quite complicated. He was denying that he was trying to defame His Majesty the King. In fact, he said he loved the King, and he sent his mobile phone to some people who want to fix it, and that's when his mobile phone was found to have contained some messages, controversial messages. So his was a case of him not accepting his guilt.
Yeah.
It's not a case of freedom of speech, so to speak. But in April last month, we heard that his lawyer was withdrawing his appeal.
Yes.
In a bid to seek a royal pardon for him. But that proved to be too late.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be an amnesty request, but it was too late.
Too late, right. So the case is, like you said, we should be focusing on whether or not his 20 years sentence was appropriate or not. For him to die in prison, it may spark some emotional response, and it could be politicized, but we should not be swayed from the fact that his sentence is 20 years, and whether or not that is appropriate, we should focus on that.
Well, the issue should be on whether the lèse majesté law should be reformed or should be amended, and how it should be amended, and whether the Agong case will in fact lead to some major changes to the law.
Right. It's a quite very highly political case.
Yes.
If you remember, it spilled over to the Facebook account of the U.S. Embassy.
Yes.
There was some artwork, there's some book written about his case, and his wife also wrote in support of the Nitirat group. So Agong himself, he's so involved in a political issue surrounding this lèse majesté. But like I said before, we should be focusing on the real, the core issue. A lot of people are getting emotional today, and saying that his death, maybe he could have survived but the real issue is about 20 years.
That's right. So it's a pity that we never actually read or heard his real viewpoints about the whole thing.
All we heard about...
Has anyone talked to him directly and asked him about all this?
All we heard is him saying he loved the king, and he did not by any means trying to defame or threaten the Thailand monarchy, and he was not accepting his guilt.
So that's the only pity, because I would have liked to have listened to his statements, his own viewpoints on what really happened, and what he really thought about the whole thing, lèse majesté, the monarchy, the red shirts, the yellow shirts, and all this. Because at times I could not avoid feeling that he was, a pawn in the whole thing.
Right, and other people are talking about the Democrat Party, how it would react to this, because his case stemmed from the secretary to the former Prime Minister Abhisit Vejjajiva filing complaints against Agong. But also, many analysts believe today that his death will put the Yingluck government in a very awkward situation because the government has announced that it would not amend, it would not be involved in amending Article 112
Yes,
at
that's
all.
right.
So how the government would respond to this is very interesting. How the red shirt people, maybe Kun Jatuporn himself,
Yes.
Kun Jatuporn, who is poised to join the cabinet, how would he, weigh his own interests and his responsibility as the red shirt leader in connection to this.
But whatever it is from us, Agong rest in peace.